second. Alright, greetings, pawns, poppers, and programs. We are back for another session of the G.R.I.M Adventures with Elidon, Kael Voss, also known as Tank, and Oppenheimer. I'm not sure why it's... Okay. For a second there, YouTube live control panel just said that it was not connected, and it had been before I hit live, so I was double checking what was going on there. Technical issues all around, it appears, hence a bit of a delay, but enough workarounds to get things rolling finally. Going to be on the shorter side due to the initial delay, and then also previous appointments and things for some board players. So we will be going for approximately 2 hours, maybe slightly under, maybe slightly over, just since we're within that margin. That said, we will begin where we had left off last, as the lot of you are aware that Grafton Branch was unfortunately not authorized by the governor to be able to spare any additional agents that weren't already with you, but was authorized to reimburse for anything that is necessary to defend the towns of Thornton and Siggins Hollow, and that any potential work release prisoners, if they are to be brought, would have to be escorted from halfway or further than halfway, but that at least with Elidon, potentially, there was a chance of cutting out a lot of the distance, but then needing to stay with the prisoners to be within range of them so that they wouldn't just pass out if away from the anchors that allow them to leave the prisons and go wherever an agent of G.R.I.M is authorized to take them. Meanwhile, Oppenheimer and Tank and several other individuals, including the prisoners and also some of the different townsfolk, set to work in digging holes to put posts in that Oppenheimer managed to enchant as a early warning sort of system for the potential of any of the headless ones or something else burrowing through, trying to get toward the town from the more obvious border of where the highway was. Not a perfect system, but at least better than not having anything at all for that potential danger, which is the main concern at present, until such a point as either they are dealt with or neutralized in some fashion, until Grafton is able to free up more individuals to thoroughly check the area for how large the warrens and dens of the headless ones are in the area and other potential threats. So, we resume with everybody having done your assorted work for the time being, and Nick still recuperating up in the loft where Elidon had been typically resting, and Oppenheimer's robot golem protecting the area. And now it's a matter of properly discussing what to do from here and start acting on things. There are still more posts that will need to be made, but a lot of logs and other posts will have to be harvested in order for more to be carved and enchanted in that fashion. There's good progress and still holes being made, but time to regroup, recuperate, and make plans.
Question.
What is your question?
How small is Pebble? My little golem?
It's small enough to be able to fit in your hand, typically. I do believe that you have something as far as it being able to change size, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's able to change into smaller.
Yeah, we were talking about basically like it was a construct you can just kind of like Pokeball out and bang, big thing.
Yeah, something like that. It was either Pokeball out or it just was able to shapeshift into tinier versions of beasts or whatever.
Yeah, it was that it has a semblance ability which lets it change to other forms and a scale enlarge ability. So it can enlarge itself, but when it's not choosing to use that, it would remain small, making it easier to transport it, etc.
Got it. Okay. This works with my plan then.
Yeah, all I'm doing is working on the posts, sending Wasted to go check on the prisoners, and just making sure Elidon can make sure everything here is staying in place, because you have eyes and ears everywhere. I don't know where. I don't know how they work. You're just you. I'm confused.
Elidon is just Elidon. Worry not.
How'd you know I planted a bomb there? I didn't know.
Just no. No, if I remember correctly, we got the paperwork and I sent it with Tin Man to give it to open.
Yeah, the authorization for Oppenheimer to sign it off. I believe that was for any requisitions, proof, and such of that nature. And allowing you to send something to verify that you can go and grab the prisoners to bring to Thornton.
Also, side note, could we, like, Ellen and I specifically, could we, like, release a prisoner? Like, you've done your time, I am determined you have done good, thing.
You can make a recommendation for it, and judging based off of how much time has passed and whether or not it's like, say, for example, you make the judgment 5 minutes after meeting somebody who's supposed to serve 20 years but's on a work release program to make it 10. Well, they would probably say 5 minutes is not enough, we need to actually meet them ourselves and send somebody to evaluate. In this particular case, if everybody helps protect the towns and is verified to be of use, it's a severe reduction, if not eliminating it entirely,
Well, in
But
particular, I want to free Alex because he is a combat type. I don't want another supervisor stopping him from stopping the criminal or from him,
as long as
basically, yeah.
as long as he stays within a mile of you, he's able to act and move about. The only thing that he can't do would be if he tries to kill another Grim agent, it would immediately knock him out until somebody came over to him. So if he rendered
trying to
unconscious,
knock out your agent?
if he rendered unconscious without killing, he could theoretically do that. It might still cause him pain as a deterrent, but it wouldn't kill him or render him unconscious in return.
Okay.
It's a way of ensuring, like, if somebody, say, happened to be a Grim agent that was trying to get them to do something that would kill them all, the prisoner would have a way of at least stopping them all dying if they had to. But if they tried to take it too far, then they'd have problems, and they would be unable to be shaken awake until, an actual Grim agent was on the site and evaluated what the hell happened.
Okay. Because part of my thought was, what if he tried to use Alex against us, or to try to make him share information? Like, I just wanted one quote-unquote insider on my side, and that was my logic, at least.
Basically, you can't force somebody to do a work release program thing. So as long as they stay within range of you and they don't kill a Grim agent or someone else that they, are otherwise a protected individual, Grim can mark people like having a temporary badge kind of thing. They basically can't be forced to do stuff, but if it turns out that they just refuse to do what they're told to do, then they'll send somebody to evaluate and, knock them out before they do anything dangerous. With the certain circumstances going on right now, it's unlikely that they would send somebody for a while, just simply because they've got their hands full. But they do have some people who can do things that are like the opposite of what Cassandra can do. She can sometimes catch glimpses of possible futures. Well, they have some people who have psychometry who can touch stuff and see the past. So typically, investigators who either have proper training or have abilities like that will be sent in to see what happened. So they're a bit more lax with that regard because the work release programs aren't people who were, murderers generally. Or if it was, they were in prison for manslaughter, it might have been extreme, but it may have been self-defense, but they were still in prison because of how they went about it. They're less likely to even put somebody for manslaughter on it unless they had been thrown in prison for a different crime and the manslaughter was not proven.
Fair enough. I'm still gonna have wasted watch out for all the other prisoners. Safety wise, I can't be there all the time. Otherwise, just working on wards, working all that. They do whatever they want. I'm just complaining about down a worker, blah blah blah, angry, grumpy, drunk.
And I would think that with you complaining about being down a worker, Tin Man would come with the paperwork and such that Elidon had given them, which was from the branch office. So possibly down yet another, although not just a simple worker, but an agent if Elidon decides to go ahead and do that.
I'm going to have faith in Elidon and all their choices because I'm a drunk and no one should trust a drunk, even myself. Simply put, my character knows a drunk is a drunk, and this is paperwork, and that's never been my forte.
Alright, so you're
I'm going to lead the exciting stuff to the other two.
So you're essentially just going to sign off on it and send 10 men back with it?
Sure. I will be happy to be the voice of reason unless I know of a reason not to.
Okay. It's just simply authorizing you to be able to reimburse people at a later point and to have proof that you are authorized for that, which they'll send, an official paperwork for that. And then also authorizing, that Elidon is able to go and pick up the additional work-release prisoners.
That works for me.
All right. Well, as you are working and directing people around and them getting more holes dug and trees and lumber chopped to get it to the size needed for the posts, we'll check and see how Elidon is doing as Tin Man is making the way back with the documentation.
Yes. I mean, Elidon's not gonna pack, except for anything to kill things with. But that's already on them 24/7, so there's that. Elidon's actually gonna give instructions for Pebble, that little column. Essentially, Elidon is going to tell Pebble to protect Nate and to kill if it's not Oppenheimer coming into this room. Is essentially what Elidon is going to tell their golem.
Okay.
And then just get ready to leave.
Okay. So you were told that it's essentially if someone were walking 3.5 days both ways, with your flight, you'd be able to cut it down. So instead of being 7 days, down to 5. However, that does mean that you would need most likely food and water of some sort for the trip. You can easily gather things and have them get reimbursed to the townsfolk who you collect them from. It'd be just a matter of what you're planning on gathering up that you'd want to take on the trip.
Are you planning on taking the cart?
No. Elidon wants to get this done as quick as possible because they want to come back and make sure Nate is fine. And also maybe catch the culprit when they get back in time, maybe, who knows?
Catch, stab, it's all the same.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I meant. But would it be fair to say Elidon would actually kind of... Wait, hold on, what are my stats on this before I say that? Oh, my scrap is shit. Never mind. You're correct. I'm going to bring a small pack of food and a small thing of water.
Okay. Are you planning on just grabbing like fruits and veggies, cereal bars, you know, what sort of thing, considering that it's the possibility of 5 to 7 days? And you do not
It would be
know,
like...
you also do not know what, if anything, will be given to the prisoners on their trip after they get halfway.
I feel like it would just be a shit ton of granola bars and
Okay.
protein bars.
Yeah, most likely, you would guess that they would probably give what they can give them. It's just, you know, who knows with what resources they had with it being no rush. So, okay.
So yeah, it would be a couple handfuls of like granola bars, protein bars, stuff like that. Small
Do I
things to
have
put
to
in a
pack
pack
you
so that
just
way
like
they...
a big meal?
No! Look, mindset is have enough room in case I do need extra food, so that way I can give it away when needed. But essentially, it's just less stuff to carry because Elidon will be flying. They're not taking the horse and the cart.
Now I want to make a duffel bag and just fill it with just food after food after food, and just be like, "You're taking this," and just be like the mama bear, just like, "You're not leaving without eating."
Elidon would definitely stare at you and then just walk away with what they have and just go. As you're still making the entire duffel bag of food, just goes.
Okay, so you're not going to eat anything before you fly off?
No. I feel like... I don't know if they've eaten already before. I don't remember who established that.
Well, you would have eaten something in the day. I'm just saying you're not eating something
Yeah.
immediately before flying.
No. We follow the rules. We take at least an hour. 30 minutes to an hour after eating. Don't want cramps and shit, you know?
Well, not having eaten for a while does mean you're less likely to vomit something back up. So,
Exactly.
all right. So, that would circle around to what Tank Kael Voss is doing at present while they are preparing everything else.
We're getting over to Tank.
I just caught, I believe, for me.
Say it a bit louder for the.
If anything, all that I'd really be doing would be going around patrolling the general area and then kind of picking up any decent resources, like it's large rocks or good-sized logs to help with the fences or trenches or anything.
Okay. I would say just go ahead and make a traversal check, because you're just walking through and looking for things that can be grabbed with ease,
Roll the check.
whether by yourself or with others.
10 and 4.
So he got a 10 and a 4. Do you have any other stuff in traversal?
So,
He is checking.
there's nothing.
Nothing in traversal.
Yeah, skills, right?
Traversal is...
Well, traversal is an attribute trial check, but an applicable skill would work, such as
He is checking. I just highlighted it.
Engineering, since he's looking for specific things to be useful, or strategy in terms of placement of things.
10 and 4, no other benefits or whatever.
Well, as I just listed off 2 of the skills, I think he'd actually have 2 advantages.
Oh. You might have 2 advantages, so...
Advantages and
Engineering and strategy.
where? What?
Engineering and strategy.
Engineering strategy.
So go ahead and roll another 2d10, and we'll see whether it's higher on either die than the before.
You should have an extra 2d10. Yeah, so you basically rolling with advantage.
4 and 5.
10, 4, 4, 5.
Yeah, 10.
Okay.
Okay. Still a success at cost. Not enough to get it to a straight success, but at least something. So yeah, you do gain +2 to engineering. To strategy, and to traversal. And as far as logs and rocks, you're easily able to find some that are close enough to the edge of the road that can be gathered and used to help build up some of the defenses in case something is on the ground, or some branches that would be of sufficient size to turn into posts. In terms of cost, I think it would mostly be just that while you are looking for these things, you may have one disadvantage on a interaction check or a strife check, on whether or not you're looking out for danger or paying attention to what somebody else is doing at present. So, are you looking out for danger or for opportunities of things to help people prepare for the defenses?
You heard the question?
I'm probably doing more or less checking if everyone's behaving and seeing about resources. That's probably the main thing I'm doing, is just checking, making sure everyone behaves. Resources.
Okay. So, in that particular case, go ahead and roll a interaction attribute trial check, and you'll have one disadvantage.
Okay. Oh, it's down?
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't quite hear what the result was.
So we got a 3, 4, 7, but as I recall, with disadvantage, it's 3 and a 4 total.
Yep. Alright, so with that, comes failure with bonus. So there's something that
Need your Discord.
they did not notice in terms of something that's happening around them that may have perhaps been useful to know. But on the other hand, they did at least manage to coordinate with some of the different individuals and gather some resources a little quicker than what some of them were expecting. Since there were some branches on trees that were able to be identified as being half dead already and easier to break off and utilize to at least get some headway to make up for running out of readily available wood. And that will give +3 to interaction.
Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to do. Okay.
Alright. With that, we are circling back around to Oppenheimer.
So I can only really make an item with a trait if I'm aware of another trait that in a person, right? Or an item. Like I can't make a wounded transferal unless I know and have studied someone with the wound transferal, correct?
If you study an entity with it, or an item that has it, or some sort of documentation that talks about it. It might let you make the attempt with varying degrees
I
of
would like to
advantage or
basically get
disadvantage
action
based on
points
what you
held
know. Well, Elidon had left, so you can prepare something like that potentially. It's just a matter of whether or not you know of a way to do that.
Chrono acceleration. We need to do something. You get extra action points to do the thing. That's my thought on the basic foundation of an item.
Okay. Well, you do know the chronal domain, and you do have the possibility of potentially using something for that. It would need to be fueled in some fashion, like a Foki crystal or the like, that would drain upon use, or have a number of charges for use. In which case, it could, be activated, drain it, and bestow it for a period of time. For something of that nature, since it's not something that's inbuilt to the individual. If you had, say, more advanced technology or magic, you could maybe modify genetics and change lineage traits or adaptation traits, but that's a little further than I think Oppenheimer would probably reasonably have knowledge of.
So how about I roll my drunk level for the day? I need to know if I have the bonus to improvising or if I have craft.
That would probably be useful either way. It still would, like I said, most likely be an item that would, have a charge to bestow the trait for a period of time. But usually, stuff that gives a trait of that sort gives it for like about 10 minutes or so. So it's still useful per charge.
More than enough. I was thinking something like a flask, but if I'm drunk, they're going to be a fun flask. If I'm sober, I'm not the best at improvising, which means I'm making a more basic design. So that's kind of where I'm like, how would you check for a complete random level of drunk?
Well, I mean, you can try to drink some alcohol and see whether or not you're able to keep from being too drunk, or whether or not you just keep drinking until you fail.
I just want to know my current state so I can see, like, am I going to get worse? So, here's my attempt, I guess, with the carousing.
Well, carousing is specifically maintaining your normal personality while drunk. So it definitely does still help in terms of it being blatant or not. But it's more dependent on what type of inebriation it is, on whether or not it affects you or not. Typically, it's just simply trying to resist the intoxicated condition. But you can use anti-die or do other things to give yourself a disadvantage to intentionally fail it if you're aiming for that.
Not trying to fail per se. I'm trying to get a feel for it throughout the day of being angry about things and taking drinks. Where am I at when I go, I need to give Elidon a tool they very much need?
Well, how many times do you think that you would have most likely taken a drink? Or would you rather I roll a d8 and just see how many times that you've taken a...
Let's see, because I'm a mix of professionalism, of someone nearly died, I have to solve this, and damn it, someone died, I have to solve this.
Okay. Looks like 3 times. So we'll have you do 3 stamina statistic adversity checks to see whether or not you resist it or fail.
All right. First roll is a 4 and a 5.
Okay.
Second one, 2 and a 5. Third, 5 and a 7.
Okay. So you have become inebriated. You became intoxicated and gained another rank in it, and then on the third time you succeeded, which kept you from getting more inebriated.
So, knowing that I am this way, and this gives me a bonus to my improvising, I'm gonna improvise a flask that empowers whatever fluid you put into it with the bonus AP. And because I'm drunk, I'm gonna really try to make sure it ramps you up. Like, it's probably gonna reduce the amount of time it lasts, just to really give you that oomph. But I'm also not considering safety features.
Okay. You definitely would have the tools to be able to work metal. You probably could use a bit of Foki crystal and some metal bent around it, and then some Cygnus markings to get it to effectively work toward what you're aiming for.
And I was thinking, and I was thinking that I could get Wasted involved because they have a smithing skill. Also because, look at what I'm doing, it's cool, yee.
Well, they can offer assistance or aid, and then you can use your applicable skills.
Nice. So, you got all your bonuses there. So an 8 and a 9. So you got an 8 and 9, 8, 9.
8, 9, 4, 3.
Or 8, 9, 4, 3 for him on the smithing side. What am I rolling? Craft or no? I'm doing improvise. Improvise. Where'd it go? Was it improvise that I just got good with drunk? Transmutation and strife. That, yep. So we're on that. Okay, so no actuals. Craft it is, because I don't get the bonus. Don't care. How much of a penalty am I at for craft?
Here. character. You wouldn't have any advantage or disadvantage from yourself. However, they would give you 2 advantages for their assistance and how well that they did.
Okay. So I get 2 advantage from them. I already have 2 in crafting. So do I have to worry about any other penalties, or is that high enough that it's not a concern?
It's just dependent on whether or not you want to roll extra die, because at most you can have 1 per die that you roll. So for example, if you have 2 in a particular skill and you only roll the base die, then you're only getting those 2. But if you wanted to roll luck die, chance die, or fate die at this point, they would be at advantage. So.
Okay. So I guess I'll start off with the first initial 4. 8, 3, 5, 3, and then I would like to succeed on this because I want to drunkenly invent something for my favorite buddy, which would be cool. So,
Well, for that you just need a 3 or higher.
So I rolled 2 luck dice, a 4 and a 3. So 7 plus 5, 12, 12 plus 8, 20.
Okay. So.
Effectively, all I do is while he's patrolling, I just walk up, "Come with me!" in the most drunk hick way possible. Wildly explain you something that shouldn't properly work, and then just welcome to the farm. This is how life is.
Okay. So Wasted will have +2 smithing for helping out with that. You will have +2 crafting, +2 Cygnus, and +2 Folky, since you're needing to use those particular sources for crafting it. So the flask will bestow 1 extra action point for 10 minutes when its contents are emptied.
I'm concerned about the side effects, but it is not time enough for me to care about them.
Yeah. It basically will mean that somebody has to imbibe from it. It doesn't necessarily have to be alcohol, but they do have to drink something from it and use a charge that is within it. And it has 2 charges that it can hold per day. If both charges are used, there is a chance of the Folky crystal potentially breaking. But if only 1 is used, it will not. Unless somebody uses something which specifically damages it in some other fashion.
And I failed 3 stamina checks?
You did. So you ended up with +8. No, you failed 2 of the 3. So you got +8 stamina progress.
Got it.
So, all right. With that said, we are circling back around once more to Elidon, as they have left before Oppenheimer had a chance to finish filling up the duffel bag prior to making the flask. So they have given instructions to Pebble. They have set out with food and water for themselves and a little bit extra to start making their journey to get to the work-release prisoners. So, with that, we are going to switch from more drilled down time to span of day per check for time passing as they are traveling and work is being made for progressing defenses and alarm system of sort. So for Elidon, I'm first going to roll what the weather is going to be in the area. Perfectly clear skies, nothing that's going to be slowing you down, no wind at your face or at your back, pushing you or pulling you along, no rain to make it more difficult to fly in. You can go ahead and make a traversal attribute trial check and just see how well you're able to maneuver the general direction to get toward where you're going without any consequences in your way.
That's just 2d10. Right.
2d10 unless you have any specific skills that would assist you in keeping track of direction and things of that nature, like navigation or other things that you could potentially use.
Would tracking work?
Tracking, unfortunately, in this particular case wouldn't help since you're not following after something. You're trying to get up to where something is a few days away from you.
Was survivalism?
Would, but I don't have anything into it.
Oh, okay.
It's something that you could gain some progress in toward survivalism or navigation to help. You did have basically like a brief look at a map kind of thing, but considering that it's crudely made with, how trying to document things like they used to be before the cataclysm is a bit harder to do. So.
And if I did use survival, it'd be just adding 1 d10?
Well, if you don't have it, it would be that you're trying to gain progress specifically in it, versus if you're just doing a general traversal check, then the progress goes to traversal rather than to the specific skill.
Fair. Yeah, I'll just do traversal. That's off. Would you like a 7 or a 7?
So, side note, I just knocked from my energy drink into my dice tray, so I think I'm going to start rolling better.
Alright, cool. Appease the dice gods.
Alright. So the first day, you are able to progress without any difficulty. You have a success at cost. So what would the cost be as you are making your way and able to more or less keep your bearings based off of landmarks and the like that you're told to keep an eye out for?
Probably some little like scrapes and bruises from like trees. Elidon's not caring, just plows through, gets smacked a couple times by tree branches.
Well, that's if you choose that you want to fly lower. You can choose that as your cost and take a mark. It could be that you end up, eating a little bit more of the rations, or it could be other things, since you aren't forced to fly lower, though you may have reasons if you choose to do so.
Say fly lower just to keep an eye out on things on the way there, so that way they know what not to run into on the way back.
Okay. Then you would move from 1 mark to 2. And then we will check in on Oppenheimer and Tank as they are making progress on the alarms and defenses. So, Oppenheimer.
I am back from cleaning up an energy drink.
Fair. So, you have been given enough supplies to start marking more of the posts and see how well you do with an interaction trial check or a strife trial check in terms of how many of them that you can do effectively without consequence in the process. Like if any of them get damaged and have to be redone or discarded for usage, etc.
Okay. So I'm doing I'm doing a crafting check and what would be the check for proper placement? That's not engineering, it's
Well, engineering can be a matter of knowing radius that they're supposed to work and setting them in place.
Alright. I'll throw in engineering on top of that. Actually, observation. I'm going to do that one.
Okay.
Observing how their radius, observing their quirks, and then working with them.
Okay. Are you going to use this toward interaction or toward strife?
Ooh, let's see. My strife. Let's go with strife.
Okay.
So roll 3d10. That much I do know. And then, so I got the dice there, and then strife. Does that need a dice? Not yet. Okay. So 3d10. Luck dice, don't fail me now. Oh, okay. 10, 10, 5. Monster definitely helped.
Okay.
Let's see, skills. Is there any point to try to push past 20? Or,
well, one thing I was going to say
no,
is that for skills, did you have observation on that?
yes.
Okay, so it should have been 40-10 instead, since I know you have crafting.
Alright, so we just find a fourth dice, roll. 2, 5, 10, 10.
Okay. Just seeing whether or not you got an extra luck die or a jinx die or anything of that sort.
Yep,
So,
fair.
doesn't affect the check in the end, but good to know. So, with that, you do have a 20, which is a straight success. So you don't have any consequences, but no bonuses from it, other than the extra luck die, which make up for the 2 you used earlier. So useful, just not directly narratively, just more mechanically. But that does mean that you get +2 progress in crafting, +2 observation, and +2 on strife. So that is useful for you. And then we move back to Tank, as they are working on defenses and organizing people for gathering resources. Unless there is something else that they would like to do at this present time.
Would you like to do something else? Would you like to...
Yeah, fine with me continue working at the trenches and resources, making sure everyone else doesn't do nothing stupid.
Like, all I really wanted from you was make sure no prisoner is complaining about a burning, like, cut in their belly and going bang. Like, just keep them safe when I can't be there. You do whatever you want beyond that. You're probably the only prisoner where I'm just like, I don't care what you do.
I mean, I guess in that is what I can kind of do. You kind of go down the line and just find a everyone and inspect everyone one by one.
Yeah.
I might as well.
Did you catch that?
I caught it. I might as well, but I didn't catch the rest.
Oh, he was mentioning lining up the prisoners and checking them for mysterious cuts, other signs of things that go bang. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that could be first aid, that could be observation, that could be surgery.
I'm thinking first aid and observation both. If I can.
Okay. Well, you're gaining it on a skill that you don't have, so you'd be rolling a flat check and picking which one you're gaining the progress on.
And probably going to be doing first aid.
Okay. So roll 2d10.
That one is a 9 and a 1.
You want to use some luck dice?
I have it.
You should. Because you're technically at a success at cost. If you wanted, you could try to get straight success. Yeah, you don't have to use it for the check. I'm just knowing resources. Ooh. 9, 1, and a 6 on the luck dice.
Okay. So that would bump it up from 10 to 16, which would make it a straight success. So you don't need to use more luck dice. So, as you examine the prisoners, are you examining anybody else while you are at it?
Probably behaviors and everything else if anyone's acting suspicious.
Well, specifically, you were going for first aid. So while you can pick up some observational information, I'm meaning more like, is there anything medically or otherwise that you might look out for with others?
Like, so if they have any like odd scars or cuts, like anything that Tweeg had, and also take note of any other injuries to be like, okay, we'll fix this up later.
Okay.
But the main focus is kind of making sure no one else is gonna decide to go have a or else decides to become a firework.
Okay. Well, I will give you 3 pieces of information based off of your result, since it's a straight success. And you chose a specific skill that would gain you this information. First, the prisoners. You would be able to easily check and verify that there doesn't appear to be any obvious surgical scars of any sort along the levels of what Nate had. So it's unlikely that unless somebody has improved their skill significantly enough to hide something of that nature more discreetly, that none of the other prisoners have something of that sort. So that's the first piece of most likely good news. The second piece of news would be that you do happen to see some of the assorted citizens as they are trying to help, gathering resources here and there, directing other people if they have difficulty with how much they personally can carry and things of that sort. You do happen to catch the mortuary assistant here and there, directing some people who are bringing up a whole bunch of food and water, and she's helping delegate it out. And you happen to catch sight that as she turns her head, there is a small scar behind one of her ears, which is pretty much right up against where the back of the jaw is located. And it is of a definite clean, but still leaving a mark, surgical scar. And the third piece of news is that one of the individuals from Sigyn's Hollow that is working on gathering different branches and posts to be able to get them down to the correct size and to digging holes, has heavily wrapped their stomach with a lot of gauze and bandages.
Alright, so I'm gonna probably be suspicious about the person with the gauze. And probably...
Mortish Merson too, maybe.
Yeah. About to say, if it's anything up along like the main torso area, I'm probably gonna be a little more suspicious about it. But for the one person with the jaw scar, I might ask about it.
Okay. Well, you said that you'd be suspicious of the one with the gauze and wrappings around their torso, and also the mortuary assistant. Which one of the two would you potentially approach first?
Probably the probably the gauze. You know, if someone's gonna decide to become a firework, I'd rather deal with it now than later.
Okay. As you go over to this individual, you are able to catch snippets of conversation that they are having with one of the other residents of the town, who is bringing over some tea and assorted fruit and cookies for the people who are working. And they're trying to ask them, the other individual who's bringing over the food and drink, is trying to ask them where they have been lately, and there seems to be a bit of confusion.
Sounds like our little friend over here might become a firework.
I'm good news for your rain. Have fun.
I'm probably gonna ask the person with the gauze if I can look underneath the gauze.
Okay. They are willing to let you do so. I will say, however, you do catch that as they are starting to unwrap it, that they are saying that they're not even sure why all of this fuss is being made and why they're all digging a bunch of holes, despite the fact that now they have been for 2 days helping out with this process.
I'm probably just gonna be like partially true with the person and be like, someone's been going around doing surgeries on people that they should not be doing. And I am doing this purely for the safety and longevity of the town or whatever.
As they uncover their stomach, you can see that the gash that is on their stomach is absolutely not surgical in nature.
I'm probably gonna go ahead and do a good sigh of relief and be like, okay, this isn't gonna be no someone become a firework.
No, but considering what you have talked about with some of the others, such as Oppenheimer and Elidon, the fact that this is not surgical and is as large as it is worrying for a different reason, potentially.
Not that they'll become a firework.
But they might become one of the beasties or something else.
I guess in the note how far am I away from Oppenheimer? Like, would it be safe enough for me to go quickly contact him, or should I try and keep an eye on everyone?
I would say that Oppenheimer is probably maybe half a mile, just because of the speed of making the posts and getting them into the ground versus how quickly you can work with others to dig the holes. So, feasible to definitely get a hold of them. You don't know from what information you know how long that this individual may or may not have. However, you do know that at least as of 2 days ago, they were helping out and seemed to understand what was going on. So this seems very recent.
You do have access to the cell at any time. Like I said, I gave you full reign. Like, you are getting more freedom than even people. So if you want to throw a suspect in there in the cell we made that can withstand a bomb, I mean,
I probably will. I'll probably be like, no hard feelings, buddy, but this is for everyone's safety.
no hard feelings, buddy. It's break time.
Okay.
Yeah, if I put the injured fellow into the cell, quickly go get Oppenheimer and figure out what's going on from there.
Well, if you are taking them all the way to the cell, back at Oppenheimer's barn area, you definitely would pass Oppenheimer on the way.
Well, I'm about to say, sober, drunk, it doesn't matter. It's just as long as he knows what's going on. He's at least conscious enough, relatively.
So, are you just passing by with the civilian, or are you trying to get Oppenheimer's attention as you continue on your way?
If I run into Oppenheimer along the way, then yes, I'm going to get Oppenheimer's attention. But otherwise, it ends then into, and then, have Oppenheimer's attention. But if I run into Oppenheimer along the way to the cell, then I let Oppenheimer know.
Oppenheimer. We'll have you make an observation check with 1 die disadvantage due to
I expect no less
from the fact that you were so inebriated the previous day. Now, if you choose to drink more to avoid the hangover, then you would have the inebriation potentially. So we can do an inebriation roll to see if you can keep it from affecting you too bad, but avoid the hangover. Depends on what you choose.
I mean, absolutely. I'm going to first attempt trying to be a better functioning person, which is just the 2d10 for stamina, right?
Yes. It'd be just a hair of the dog just to keep it from going too far.
2 1s.
Okay, that's 2 jinx. And on the one hand, you don't end up the hangover.
All right. So he walks by me with the prisoner while I'm knockered.
So you're going to get +3 stamina progress. And now you can do an observation check at 1 die disadvantage.
Alright. Normal roll, straight, let's do this. A 2 and a 5.
You are too drunk to pay
throw
attention.
some luck at that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, unless you throw some luck.
So I'm having problems. Throw 4 dice at it. Four. And then go a while. 5, 10, 14, 19, 21. Using 4 dice.
Okay.
So 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2.
All right. You definitely would notice them, and that will give you +2 progress on observation. As you are going with Tank.
Was that an interaction as well, or?
Yes.
So the interaction one of the attribute check.
Yes.
I always forget to do that part on all the skills.
Well, if it's a skill you don't have, then the progress is going toward that skill. But if it's a skill you do have, you can get it for both. So, or if you're going without aiming for a skill, you can go with that.
Yeah.
Regardless, you are able to make your way after Tank, having seen them dragging a civilian along, more or less, back towards your barn.
I just, as we're walking, fuck you doing?
I'll really take note that Oppenheimer is greatly inebriated.
Staring at me won't fix things. Fuck you doing?
Maybe tell Oppenheimer upon what I've discovered.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm showing clear, like, cognitive signs. I'm just wasted.
I think that along the walk, you probably would have had them temporarily cover up the gash and just reveal it. Oppenheimer, seeing as you are drunk, I'm going to have you make a calm check. I don't believe you have the skill.
Nope. Calm's not in my vocabulary.
Okay. You could also use carousing for this instead.
I don't got that either.
Okay. So you're going to have an interaction attribute trial check again at 1 die disadvantage to not say anything that will startle the civilians around you. As you notice what is being shown to you. Interaction trial check.
Interaction. Okay, so there's the interaction. No other bonus. Ooh, 15. 8 and a 7. See, I can function as a drunk. You can't judge me.
Okay. That is a success at cost, so you get +2 progress. And you do manage to at least keep the civilians from noting what you're noticing by not drawing too much attention to it. However, I think as you are drunk, probably taking a mark in the process of managing to restrain yourself, whether that's accidentally smacking your hand instead of the wood that you're working, or some other thing that happens as you take note of.
The prison door pinched my hand real good.
Something to that effect.
Like, I was drunk, I was trying to close it, and then caught my thumb a little bit, and it was just yeah.
Alright, so that will bump you up to 1 mark at present. And the two of you are able to make your way toward the barn with the civilian and get them into the cell for the time being. You will have to make a decision in terms of keeping somebody on watch and whether or not to report to Grafton Branch or other things to do before the day ends. And we switch back over to Elidon as they are making their journey.
Are you saying we decide now, then we switch, or are you switching and then we decide?
You decide, and then we switch.
I'm take a quick hit of Chronal in order to sort myself up so I can make a proper report. Send the report while also having probably Tank watch him, just because you're the most reliable. If something gets out, I need you to squish.
That, and also, worse and worse, you times be my firework. I also have to start.
Yeah, you got surgery, you got that. Like, you are the one I want watching a body. Combine that with just me using Chronal Magic to sober myself up so I can make a report, interpret drunk notes, and send a report and hope that the guy understands what I wrote.
Okay.
My writing is not very good. I don't have pointed it for a reason. I will, however, go to shot. 1-6. I'm going to throw luck at that. $13. I got a 6, so I got a jinx and a luck.
Okay.
I used luck, so that stays where it is. Okay. Then I have.
So, that
To clarify
is
on this one, this is a interaction check, right?
correct. And this would be success at cost. So, I think your cost for the day with this particular check would simply be you do manage to communicate it well. However, with how busy they are, nobody responds before you are too tired to stay up waiting for a potential response.
Fair enough.
So at least you have notified Grafton that it is quite possible that there is someone infested with one of the young.
New hive or something, just speculations, nothing concrete, but I got nothing concrete, so what am I supposed to tell you?
Okay. And we switch back to Elidon. So first I'm going to roll the weather. 10. Okay. Elidon.
Yes.
Go ahead and make your traversal check. You can choose whether or not you're keeping down near the trees or above them, considering that you received the mark before, so you are aware of that potential danger. And it will be at 1 die advantage, as there is a massively strong wind blowing you in the correct direction. This will, if you can manage to stay with it, shave down some of your travel time.
Is that 3d10 or just still my normal 2?
It'd be 3d10.
Ooh. Well, I got a 1, a 7, and a 9.
Well, that would be a straight success, so you're not going to take any damage from it. That's +2 progress. But you also did get 1 jinx. So you have that. The wind manages to blow hard enough as you manage to stay with it that you are going to need to use 2 of your granola protein bars just from keeping yourself in the air. But you can see, as you are ending the 2nd day, signs of a campfire and smoke coming from further up ahead, and manage to reach what should have been 2.5 days in only 2 days to catch up to where they are making their way down. It still is potentially 2.5 days on the walk back, or up to 3 days with them, depending on if you take it slower or if you make them pick up the pace. But you at least did not encounter anything that would slow you down. And in fact, got something that sped you up.
Okay. Not wanting to scare too much, Elidon would probably stop flying just on the outskirts of their little camp and walk in.
Okay.
Mask on. Once again, not trying to scare people. They're not very talkative though, so Elidon just kind of just shows up. Just kind of grunts at people.
Yeah.
Just appears from the shadows with a gas mask, breathing heavily.
The best. Everyone's favorite nightmare, right?
Yeah. The warden, who is, well, not necessarily the warden, the sheriff who is taking them from the prison down to meet up with you, that particular room agent temporary badge that has been granted, is able to catch the light in the campfire, so you know who to head toward. And you manage to get close enough that some of the prisoners notice you before they do. So they startle and turn, reaching for a gun, but stop when they catch light of the badge that you have reflecting on the camp light as well. Barely managing to keep from trying to shoot you before they noticed. Don't shoot this person. Scared the bejesus out of me. I take it you're the one who's supposed to bring them along the rest of the way.
Yes.
Alright, well, they've taken a good long walk today and you need to rest up, and I think you're probably going to need to rest as well before turn around, but cooked up some beans and biscuits and a little bit of gravy. I didn't have any meat or anything of that sort to make up, but it'll at least feed everybody, and you're welcome to it unless you've got something of your own that you prefer. And with that, I'm gonna take a rest myself and head off in the morning as soon as I get up, whether you're still here or not. So I've got to get my way back to the prison itself and see who else can be evaluated for your program or not. But best of luck to you with whatever G.R.I.M is dealing with, that you've accepted so many of them at rapid pace. And it's clear that this sheriff has not been fully filled in on what the deal is, and likely neither are all of the prisoners. But they at least know, hey, some G.R.I.M agent is going to pick you guys up and make you march, walk, whatever, to some other community, and you're going to be there instead of my problem.
Fair enough. Elidon's definitely gonna assess them. May do a quick pat down as well, just to make sure that A, they aren't having anything they shouldn't have on them, and B, to make sure they are not ready to explode all of a sudden.
Okay, then that would be a first aid check. Or just simple observation if you're doing both, depending on if you have skills in either or are gaining progress in it.
I do have one in observation, working on that one for the first aid, so...
Well, just a matter of if you want to gain more progress in the first aid or increase your odds with the check.
Well, increase my odds with the observation. Because that one I have one in at least.
Okay, then 3d10.
Six, 7, and a 4.
Alright, that would be 13 then. So that is a success at cost. I think you would be able to tell that there are some individuals who have had sort of surgical scars here and there, but they don't appear to be anything that's recent. You can see where, for example, somebody has some surgical scars on their shins, and with just a short bit of questioning, they just were born with their feet pointing inward. So they got corrected after they were born to, keep them from tripping all the time. Another one who had a surgical scar in their shoulder, and it is actually very nasty, but obviously a surgical scar. But evidently they had taken a bullet in the shoulder at some point, and somebody who was not a proper doctor had fished it out and stitched them up as best they could, but it left a pretty nasty scar rather than something more minor. But nothing that you're coming across that would be as obvious as what Nate had.
Okay.
So you have +2 progress to observation and to interaction. And I will say, as you're busy talking with them, you are so busy dealing with them that somebody manages to slip away one of your bars without you noticing it until you're checking everything and getting ready to sleep for the night.
Fair. Elidon does not raise questions or anything about rations being taken. That was kind of the point.
Okay.
Yeah, gets ready to set out for the next day. I'm guessing, unless... What time did did Elidon show up?
It would be in the evening, let's say just after sunset.
Okay, so yeah, just gets ready for the next day to go.
All right. And then we will circle back to Tank and Elidon. Tank and Oppenheimer.
All right.
So, Tank, do you try to get anybody else to help you keep an eye on the civilian?
Also, did you finish inspecting everyone and found one person, or?
They would have checked over enough people that that was the
Okay.
most obvious, definite thing to check. They couldn't check everybody necessarily in both communities, but at least those who were working along the line, along the highway, they were the only person who had that particular issue of note. There was also what they noticed about the mortuary assistant.
I don't know.
What if you got one of the mortuary people because, well, we're expecting trouble? At least have them on speed dial.
Sure.
Basically, give them a warning that I have a prisoner. Here's the description, and I'll let you know when you're needed.
Well, in this particular instance, it's not one of the prisoners, more one of the civilians that you have quarantined at present. So, again, are you going to have?
I'm gonna probably have someone who can help out on speed dial, basically, but also help out on the inside of the prison cell to make it a little bit more comfortable for our civilian.
Okay.
So
What
they're
I
not just in a concrete box.
What I was more meaning is in terms of, are you rotating shifts with anybody to keep an eye on the civilian, or are you just dealing with them yourself until you need to rest?
I'm dealing with them until otherwise. If I need rest or something, then I'll deal with so on and so forth.
Okay. I'm going to have you make a stamina attribute trial check. Stamina statistic adversity check. Just a flat one. Go ahead and roll 2d10.
Five and a 6.
Okay. So that comes up to 11. Success at cost. You manage to keep from falling asleep while the civilian is quarantined and kept contained. You do not, however, notice until two other civilians are already within about 100 feet away, that they are looking around and muttering to each other, evidently calling the name of this individual without trying to draw attention to themselves. They're not too blatantly obvious, but due to being on the tired side, you didn't notice them until they were much closer.
I guess I might as well stop them slightly and feel like
Because you were able to... Hold on a second. It appears... Okay, OBS disconnected and reconnected for some reason. I have no idea why. This is on my end showing that it's still... You are able to, by catching them and giving that simple enough explanation, no need for a check. They just simply are verifying where the individual is, and you at least kept them from opening up the quarantine and potentially finding out for themselves the kind of wound that they have. So at the very least, they trust, well, they're at least somewhere where somebody's keeping an eye on them. They're not buried in some underground basement where government folks are poking and prodding or anything. They're just being kept separate for some reason, and they can get more information later. Since Oppenheimer at least did give some explanation before, it's just they didn't know what the heck was happening to their neighbor. Speaking of Oppenheimer, you would wake, and since you didn't drink as much as the previous day, I'll say that you don't have to worry about having a hangover. You are able to wean it off enough over time. However, you do...
Also, has family responded to my messages? Because the whole, like, messaging home every day matters. So, I also count having them respond matter too.
Well, you would see that there is a message just basically telling you to be careful and to stay safe as you can while helping people out. And that they know that what you do is important, but they want you to don't take stupid risks if you don't have to. And as far as messages from Grafton, you are able to see as you walk by, as the sound of an arriving message and lights from its arrival, that there is a short letter for you, and it just simply states: quarantine, check for others, still limited, time, resources, and bodies to put to task. Ensure, if necessary, does not spread. Any means necessary.
I'm going to first part of the response is, please tell me what you mean by any means necessary, because I've probably been a part of other bad situations. And two, I ask, can I get a medical professional here? Because then they can inspect bodies, both living and dead. Because right now, all I got is a dead man, and the only way we can check for shit is if we kill someone, and then send him to the coroner.
Okay. You would know from some past experiences with certain ruins and other works with G.R.I.M from before you met Elidon, when they have any means necessary and they have it underlined, such as they have in bolded in this case. If necessary, G.R.I.M will work with the government to bury whatever news might leak out. If required, they have thus far not needed to resort to the levels of an entire town or two in this potential case, all being dealt with in one fashion or another. But that you have had instances with some idiots climbed into a ruin that they found, and because of some other danger, that they were bringing out, they all had to remain in the ruins indefinitely. So it's not often. G.R.I.M usually tries to prevent such outcomes, but when they say any means necessary, they mean...
Can I ask them...
do what you have to.
I was going to say, can I ask them, because you said they can make a new narrative or suppress one. Could I ask them to say there's a report of some form of, like, food poisoning, stomach flu thing, like, some form of sickness that would justify a lot of people going to the doctor in town? Because then I would collect the data from the doctor, send it to G.R.I.M, or whatever parasite specialist bull honky. Because I'm good at collecting information. I'm not good at processing it.
Okay. They have given you authorization.
So basically, request for that.
I'm going to let you know from what they had said previously. You could requisition people for their skills, resources, whatever you're needing, and that you were previously to keep it under wraps. You are now being told, we can't send anybody else ourselves. Do what you need to do to make sure this doesn't spread. So if you need to tell everyone, tell a specific person, you have been given essentially carte blanche. But you cannot let it get out.
Got it. That's bad. All right. I know people in town, right? What medical people are in town?
In
particular, I don't want the town nearest. I want the second nearest, just because I want to collect data on another town. I also don't want the neighbors to know this person, so they'll just casually leak it. Does that make sense?
I mean, you've got Thornton, which doesn't have a lot of people in it since it's a smaller community, and you have Siggins Hollow. As far as medical professionals, you have a vet, you have a family clinic doctor. There's 2 of them that are at the same clinic. A dentist, the mortuary director, and mortuary assistant.
I'd like to talk with the doctors.
Okay. So, you are able to gather them. They are more or less a little concerned about the amount of exertion that everybody is undergoing for whatever this situation is, and making sure that making sure that people who are showing signs of exhaustion are rotated out, especially with some of the individuals who may have retired to the town might be on the older side, as it's not exactly a booming population, though it is larger than Thornton. So just to make sure to keep letting those who are able to provide drinks and food, but if people are needing breaks to try and rotate people, they're just offering information, expecting that you're just checking to make sure things are running smoothly, having no idea of what you're about to ask them.
What I'm going to offer is an on-site medical staff position with, I'm not going to say exceptionally high pay, considering I don't know what doctors get as my character, because my character focuses on making things and healing automatically and not needing doctors. So it's just, I offer better than average pay, which in all likelihood is actually incredibly high pay, for an on-site medical staff, because I'm going to get a large influx of prisoners, and that I need to verify their health due to a recent accident. I need to make sure that no one else ever gets hurt.
Okay.
It is a live-in position. This is not a, you still live in wherever. No, you come here. I have a place for you. You set up a medical practice here. You work for me and my farm.
Okay. So the two doctors would state that they would be willing to potentially help splitting hours between the two of them to provide services as they're able, but considering the population the size it is and how few doctors they have, pulling one away full-time without having a replacement would probably be of strong detriment to the community. However, they could try splitting hours to take on extra time, add extra pay to assist you while they are seeing who they can get to come and fill the position full-time for you.
If they need any help sending out the messages, I can high priority them for them. I can pay for next day shipping or whatever that would translate to. I'm genuinely expressing concern for my prisoners, not just trying to be like, we need to hurry up. This is an accident that truly bothered me, and I never want to see it again. So not trying to show a panic of, oh no, danger. I'm letting someone got seriously hurt, and I don't like that happened.
Okay. So they are understanding of what you're needing. They're just, limited in how they can serve, the communities as best as they can. So as far as expediting communications and that sort, they are aware that G.R.I.M has the means to communicate to Grafton for communication. They don't know if you have means to communicate elsewhere to spread out the request further than that or not. But as far as specific people and that sort of thing, they say that they could go through the records of, people they knew before they, took on the position, or had last been to Grafton, since it is the next largest town, on potentials. But there isn't a, internet system for them to check, considering all of the ley lines and such in the area. So it's like, they're just letting you know, we can't guarantee how fast it'll be. It's not as easy as just putting a bulletin board in our offices, because then you're limited to who
And
might not be trained.
Alternatively, they can stay in their positions and come here periodically. Just advise me to someone who can do this. Like,
Right. And that's what
tell
they're
me a name to
offering.
call for in a town and stuff like that.
Right, and that's what they're offering, is that they would take on extra hours at a higher rate than what they would normally do to help you, but they couldn't do full-time, either of them, or full-time split between the two of them, but it'll at least be something, to get some hours in and help you out.
I nod, reach into my briefcase thing, which is disorganized with a few flasks and maybe a hand grenade. We're not questioning that. Pulling out a "Don't speak about this" paper for those the privacy paperwork.
In NDA.
Yeah, and basically say this is government work. It's an expected thing to do. I don't fully understand it myself, but I'm told I hand it to people.
Okay.
But yeah, just have understanding. This is just how it goes. You let me know when you're ready. We'll make this work. I'll make some phone calls.
Yeah.
Go to the coroner and basically inquire about a on-site coroner.
Because
he knows what's going on more. So yeah.
They do state that they understand, the government and its NDAs and things of that nature. They do have, patient confidentiality and that sort of thing, unless it's a situation where it has to be a public security health risk that needs to have information shared, for the safety of more than just the individual's privacy concerns. But they understand what you mean with the NDA and that sort of thing. They're just more or less like, we get it. It's just, it's an overlap of, not necessary kind of bureaucracy that people don't appreciate. But they at least understand you're not the one telling you to do this. You're needing somebody. As far as talking to the mortuary director, he was training in the mortuary assistant to take over for him. So in terms of somebody full-time with that, that's less likely something that he is going to specifically have a recommendation on at present. He can put out feelers when he sends in some, letters and all that, but he wouldn't have a name off the top of his head. It took him a while to find somebody who could be trained in to take over for him to be able to retire. So,
and if he's looking to retire, I can offer him like that part-time good pay retiree work where you can stay home and relax until I call you. Like, you are on the call. I will have a house for you on site. You can go visit people all you want, but if I call you randomly, I need you to inspect an animal that has a weird mark or a person. Like, just be part-time available. So when emergencies happen, I can just go, hey, you. Not asking you to like constantly be working, but yeah.
He says that he'll at least consider it, given the situation, and that he will put out feelers, but he would probably not want to be even part-time doing it for the rest of his life, however long that he has. So.
Oh, I understand, and I ain't asking for life. I'm just. This needs to be a very tight situation. I don't need everyone and their uncle going, wow, that's weird, and his belly busted. So, if you can just short-term, full-time help handle things until I'm not worried about my friend blowing up.
Yeah. He will attempt to aid as best as he can. He just isn't entirely certain on how much that he will or will not be able to at present.
That's fine, as long as you consider and at least attempt. That's enough for me, considering I shoot things and make things blow up, and right now things are blowing up that I'm not blowing up, and I don't like that.
Okay.
I would have had a body for you to investigate. No, motherfucking just angry tirade at nothing. Just cuss words with adjective and adjective of cuss word. Just angry about the situation. And immediately afterwards apologizing because I'm stressed out.
He seems to be understanding at the very least. So, with that, I believe once Wolfie gets back, we will check on how they are doing for the day as they're making their progress back. And then we'll be shortly wrapping things up since people have appointments and things to deal with. And we've made some good progress mechanically and as far as dynamic events and things of that nature. So, just a matter of finding out what they are doing first and going from there.
I love the fact that I finally got my just terrible roll for drunk, and I invented a flask. And now, because mechanically, I don't know what the flask does, I'm just handing Wolfie a flask that I hope helps.
Yeah, that's when I get back. Right now, Elidon is MIA.
So,
Which
Elidon.
you expected, I'm pretty sure.
Elidon, you have the next day as the prisoners in the work release are waking and set to head out. Go ahead and roll a 1d4 for me.
D4. Oh boy. First one I grab. Yeah. Well, that's a 3.
Okay. You do manage to wake up before the sheriff has rode off back to the prison, but he is saddling up as you are getting everybody ready. So he just gives you a nod and a wave, trusting you to start taking them the rest of the way. And it appears that the weather is overcast, but there is not any rain or serious wind, as you are able to start leading them back toward Thornton. Is there anything specific that you're trying to have them do or make them keep an eye out for, and how fast are you trying to get them to go?
From my assessment the day before, are any of them... Did any of them look like they could be fighters or tanks in a sense? And if any of them were more nimble, the more nimble ones would be more on the inside, whereas the tank guys would be on the outside more?
You can, I would say, assess them well enough that at the very least you can tell who's muscular in terms of how good of a fighter they are. Not from how little time that you've spent. You haven't seen them, you know, sparring or doing anything that would indicate whether or not
I
they're
haven't
just.
seen them in action really, but it's more of more of the physical thing of just like big guys on the outside, small.
Yeah, you don't know which ones are, you know, scrawny but scrappy, and which ones are just buff but, you know, don't know how to fight. You at least know it. You can arrange the skinnier ones toward the center to let the meat shields get hit first. Alright. And then are you going to have them take a regular walking pace and rest every certain number of hours, or are you going to try and have them do a forced march? Elidon?
If anything I said made it through.
No, that's why I was just checking.
Cool, my Discord restarted itself. Fantastic. Thanks, Discord.
Okay. Yeah, you hadn't disappeared on our side, just silent, so I wasn't sure what happened.
No, you're good. So essentially, go as fast as we can without being too exhausted by the end of the day. Because Elidon's one-track mind of get back to save Nate is there. As they are walking, though, Elidon will be flying overhead just to A, keep track of them, and B, have a bird's eye view of the terrain again.
And also, when they get there, like, not you and them can just take a really long nap because no longer road. You're here. Good luck. Happy day.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's different on the way back versus the way there is that Elidon did not have to stick to the road. So they were able to make it in 2 days, where it normally would take 2.5 to 3.5 days, depending on the route that they took. With all the prisoners, if they try to take the exact route that they took, it may even take longer than finding some other route, like along old roads and things of that nature. That said, however, they would, a couple of them who know less about how G.R.I.M operates and weren't paying attention to the information about the work release program, a couple are wondering why they don't just, you know, let you go ahead and lead the others on and just hang back and go off and do whatever the heck they want, because clearly you are not going to be able to, you know, keep an eye on all of them, even if you were, you know, a more intimidating sort. And then there's one of the other prisoners who just smacks him in the back of the head and says, You didn't pay attention to the fact that if we get too far behind, we're just going to be knocked out and stay knocked out in the wild with who knows what around to start eating us, which gets them back in line.
I imagine that if that is said again, just Al would grab one of Oppenheimer's grenades and be like, "All right, you're listening here."
Oh no, at that point, Elidon would definitely get like in their face and be like, listen, or die. Not problem. And then continue.
All right.
Elidon's not meant for the talk part. I don't know why they assumed this was the great idea for it, but it's fantastic for me.
The whole entire reasoning was just simply, you can get there fast, which can get you help sooner.
No, I know.
So that was, it
I
was
know.
more or less, we don't have other options, you know?
No, I know.
So,
No, I'm here for it. It's great.
all right.
Out of game, I understand it. I understand. In game, Elidon's just like, the fuck.
All right, so to wrap things up for the session and for the day in game, I'll have you make one more traversal attribute trial check to see how well that you are able to lead them and potentially keep your route as short as you can make it. I will say that keeping them at a decent pace, it is going to be just a straight check. You're not force marching them into areas that, you know, they blunder into before you notice bad terrain or anything like that. And you taking Overwatch, you are able to at least see and direct them instead of, you know, walking through trees and coming up to a cliff or anything nonsense like that.
Mm-hmm. There's just 2d10. Let's go. Well, that's a 6 and a 3.
You got this. You're lucky I have confidence.
How much do I have, from my counting, 6 luck die. You know what? Let's make that 3. I'm gonna use 3 luck die.
Okay.
Why not burn some disadvantage?
Well, I just gained 1, so that's a 1, 2, and 2. Guys, I don't think I'm doing great.
Hey, at least you broke 10. That was the goal.
I'm sorry.
2.
1, 2, and
2.
2. Okay, so it was 5 plus that. So that bumped it up to success at cost at least. Didn't get high enough to a straight success. So your cost is just simply that while you do manage to keep them from slowing down significantly by avoiding certain terrain, you did not manage to find a easier route to shorten it. So you do make about a day's progress in a day and still have about 2 full days walking to go. And you have +2 traversal check progress.
Guys, I'll get there eventually. Worry not.
It really helps that you're announcing the traversal interaction, because that part, at least for me, I keep forgetting. So you saying, Tom, you get +2, that
Yes. No, that
I
helps a
wouldn't
lot.
level up without it.
Yeah, I think if, you know, there's VTT and other things like that set up that helps make it easy to pull up all that information, it would help. But me saying it aloud also makes it appear on the transcript so I can double check it later as well. So I think it does help everybody overall. So that said, for today, we will end the session off, and we have different problems that each individual is encountering and finding their own ways to potentially face some risks and some possible rewards depending on how things go. And we'll have to see how things turn out next session. And